All right, so welcome to your first vodcast of your 2014 health class. And today we're going to talk about the concept of health and wellness. In the past, if you didn't have an illness, you were considered to be healthy, but that is no longer the case. The term health does not only refer to the absence of illness. It also refers to several different things. So let's first define the term health. What is health? The actual definition of health is the overall well-being of your body, your mind, and your relationships with others. So this goes into not just are you sick, but how are you feeling mentally? How are your relationships with other people? Do you have friends, family, things like that? Now, there are two things that we use to evaluate our overall health. Those two things are your life expectancy and your quality of life. So we need to define those two things. Life expectancy is how long you can expect to live. At the time when your great-grandparents lived, it was probably an accomplishment for that person to live until they were 50. But today we are living well beyond 50 with advances in medicine and a lot of other different things. Our life expectancy is longer. We are living a lot longer. It has increased by approximately 30 years in the last from 1900 until present day. Now, let's suppose there are two kids. They're born seconds apart. Will they have the same life expectancy? Maybe not. It depends on your life expectancy is going to depend on a lot of the decisions you make in your life. Do you choose to smoke? Do you choose to do drugs? Do you choose to ride in a vehicle without a seatbelt? All of these things will have an impact on your life expectancy. The more sickly you are, the more illnesses you have and different things like that can shorten your lifespan. The second thing, the quality of life, this is how happy you are. The degree of overall satisfaction you get from your life. Hypothetical here, suppose two women live until the age 80. One is physically active and she's mentally alert throughout her life. She has close relationships with a friend and a family. The other woman has a series of health problems during her life that reduces her ability to enjoy life. Although the women have the same life expectancy, they have a very different quality of life. Within quality of life, we're going to talk about goals. So a high quality of life may be one of your goals that you set for yourself, and then we need to define the term goal. So a goal is a result that you aim for and that you work hard for. Now you can have short-term or long-term goals. For example, you may have a short-term goal this semester of, I want to pass this class. I want to pass all my classes. Those are short-term goals, something that's going to affect you in the near future. A long-term goal could be, I want to graduate high school. I want to go to college. I want to be a doctor. I want to be a lawyer. I want to be a mechanic. Whatever it is, things that are going to affect you in the future, those are long-term goals. All right, so within health, we're going to talk about our aspects of health. And for our purposes in this class, we're going to talk about 3 different aspects of health. You have your physical, you have mental and emotional, and social. Now we're going to group mental and emotional together, even though they can have their own aspects themselves. They are different things, but for our purposes, we're going to group them together. So, hint, 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 open response question on a test could be, what are the 3 aspects of health, and explain. So physical, mental, emotional, and social, and then we're going to talk about each one now. Physical health. All right, so when you think of the term physical health, what do you think of? This is not only how you look on the outside, but it's how well your body functions on the inside. Do you have enough energy to go to school, to enjoy your spare time, to take care of your responsibilities at home? Having enough energy throughout the day is part of being physically healthy. Or when you get to the afternoon, are you so tired you can hardly keep your head up? That is that mental alertness, or not having the mental alertness. But if you do have the energy, then you probably are in pretty good physical health. When you're physically healthy, you're able to carry out everyday tasks without becoming too tired. And then let's talk about what we can do to keep ourselves healthy physically. So you're probably already thinking exercise, things like that. And that is a part of it. But not only that, So we need to be active, do something. Our studies show that teenagers need to be active at least 60 minutes a day, 5 days a week. And I'm not talking about just being active, walking up and down the stairs to school, just going to class. That's not active. We got to get your heart rate going. So if you participate in sports, any kind of sports, you probably are pretty active. If you do outside of school sports and things like that, that's a good thing. You're getting yourself active and getting your heart rate to increase. Your diet, what you are putting into your body, is also very important in your physical health. Have you heard the term, you are what you eat? Well, that is pretty true. Are you eating all the vegetables and fruit that you need? Are you getting enough protein? Are you staying away from the bad carbs? Are you just getting good carbs? Are you getting the good fat? All of those things provide energy. So if you are having these crashes in the afternoon, it's probably because you're taking in too much sugar. And sugar will provide you a short burst of energy. It doesn't last very long. You need carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. Also, you need to get enough sleep. Are you getting at least 8 hours of sleep a night? Chances are you're probably not. When you are asleep, that is your body's time to heal itself. Your body's still working even though you're asleep. It's taking stock and taking inventory of what's going on. When you're not getting enough sleep, your immune system can get run down. The more stress you're under, it affects your immune system. So sleep is a very important part of your physical health. And then the last thing, do you go to the doctor? Having proper medical and dental care is very important. If you get sick and you don't get it taken care of, that can lead to other things. Dental care, if you have cavity and you don't get that cavity taken care of, it can lead to an infection in your bloodstream, which can cause all other kinds of issues. So make sure you're getting proper medical and dental care. That is all about physical health. So now let's talk about our mental health. So what is mental health? Mental health is the state of being comfortable with yourself, with others, and with your surroundings. We have a whole chapter dedicated to mental health as a part of this unit, so we're only going to hit it briefly, but there are a lot of stigmas that are attached to the term mental health, and we're going to try to break some of those stigmas. Now, your brain, although it's not a muscle within itself, a lot of the brain tissue is like muscle tissue. Now, the more you work a muscle memory starts to develop and things become easier and your muscles get bigger and they get better and stronger. Your brain is the same way. The more you use it, the better it's going to become. But if you never use it, then you're not exercising your brain. You got to make sure that you're exercising it. Your mind needs to be alert. Are you able to learn from your mistakes? Do you recognize your achievements? These are all important aspects of your mental health. Now, let's talk about when someone has a mental illness. Whenever there is a mental illness, that means there is a breakdown somewhere in the way information is stored in the brain, the way it's processed, and the way it's retrieved. You have to have a place to store it. You have to be able to process that information, and you have to be able to retrieve that information. So I have a couple examples here of a mental illness. The first thing is PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. This is mostly associated with our war vets. Basically, PTSD, anyone can suffer from PTSD if you've experienced a traumatic event in your life, if you've lost a close loved one. And basically what PTSD is, it's where the person keeps reliving some event over and over and over, whether it's in their dreams, it causes nightmares, flashbacks at any moment in the day. Smells can bring back these images, sounds, different things can pull these images forward. Instead of being stored and worked through in your brain, something is causing those to not be processed. So this is a picture here of one of our war vets that not all war wounds are visible. And that's the thing with mental illness. Most people think that it's really not that big of a deal. If you break a bone, we know what to do with that. We know how to fix it. You can tell. With mental illness, it's internal. The wounds are not visible. It's not as easy as putting a cast on and fixing it. So keep that in mind. And then phobias. Phobias are an example of a mental illness. And if you have a phobia, it means you have an intense fear, usually of an object or a thought. So in this example, it's agoraphobia. Agoraphobia a phobia is the intense fear of the outside world. And here's just a little picture of a girl and a little quote that she says. It says, "Sometimes I just feel so naked when I'm clothed. There is no protection. The walls are too far apart. I have nowhere to go. I cannot stand to leave my own home, my own walls, anywhere else. I know. I fear I am completely dot dot dot." So usually someone who's agoraphobic they don't leave their house. There's intense fear of the outside world. They can't control what's going on out there. So again, those are just two examples of a mental illness. And remember, a mental illness is just, there's a breakdown in the way your body, your brain stores information, retrieves information, or processes the information. All right, so with mental health, I know your parents have probably asked you at several different times or at one point or another, what were you thinking? With mental health, we're going to actually go from that question of what are you thinking to how are you thinking? Are you processing this information? Are you able to retrieve it? Are you able to use it in the future? So go from the term what are you thinking to how are you thinking? Okay? We want to know, how are the gears turning in your mind? How is everything? Are you able to remember things and bring it up, for a test? Can you memorize things? That's rote memorization. Can you remember stuff? Can you refer to it and bring it back up when it's time in the future that you need it? And then again, back to our little exercise brain here. It's very important that we exercise our brain. Reading and just different things, doing trivia, crossword puzzles, things like that is exercising your brain. The more you work it, the better it's going to be. You don't use it, you're going to lose it. All right, social health. Oh, social health. So this is how well we get along with others. And it's not about being popular, and it's not about being a complete extrovert, being very outgoing and things like that. It's, do you have those few people in your life? It can be one or two, it can be five, however many. Do you have those people in your life that you can go to and discuss things with, that you can rely on and you can count on? So being able to make friends and keep friends is a good aspect of social health. When you are socially healthy, you have loving relationships, you respect the rights of others, and you're able to give and accept help. Now, this is a little picture of all the different social media that we have out there. I don't even know what half of this stuff is. I'm familiar with a few of it, but not all of it. But with technology and media, it enables us to stay in contact with people literally 24/7. And so you're able to expand your little, maybe 24-mile, whatever radius of your friends here in North Little Rock. But you're able to talk to people across the country and across the world, across the globe. With instant communication, it's becoming a lot easier to communicate with friends, family, and then get to know people outside of the world. But it's very important that you are cautious as far as what you're doing on the internet, and we'll talk about that in great detail at a different time. So do you have friends? Do you have loving relationships? Are you able to give and receive help? Are you able to talk to your friends? If they do something wrong or they do something to irritate you, can you calmly and rationally tell them what you're thinking? And can you, to get over it? Then family. Do you have people in your life, in your family, that you can count on, that support you, that have your back at all times? Part of social health is also, do you have, how you deal with your boss at work? Do you have authority problems? Do you like being told what to do? None of us like being told what to do. But being socially healthy means that you can be told what to do and not get aggravated and not get frustrated. So how you deal with your boss, that's part of your social health. How you deal with teachers. Again, that goes back to the same thing with your boss. Do you have a problem with authority figures? If you do, you probably don't get along with your teachers very well. But if you can communicate with your teachers, if you can talk to them, that's another good sign of good social health. Coaches, are you in athletics, or are you involved in sports outside of school? How you deal with your coach. Are you able to deal with someone yelling at you? If you can't, then that's, again, That goes back to, are you socially healthy? And again, right back to our friends. It always goes back to that. So communicating with others, are you able to communicate when you are upset? Can you tell your friends when they've done something to hurt your feelings? Or can you handle somebody telling you what you've done wrong? That's part of social health. All right, emotional health. So how we react to events in our life and how we express our feelings. Are we able to express our feelings in a calm way, or do we overreact? Sadness and depression, that is a part of our emotional health. If you're emotionally healthy, when the feelings you experience are appropriate responses to the event. So let's say your boyfriend or girlfriend broke up with you, you just failed a test. Do you curl up in the corner like this person here in this picture and want to die, or are you able to accept that sometimes bad stuff happens and learn from it, move on? I love this saying, if you want to be happy, then be. You are in control of your own happiness. If you don't like getting in trouble, don't do things that's going to get you in trouble. If you don't like being yelled at for not turning in work, turn in your work. If making bad grades upsets you, study, do your homework. Those are simple little things. If you want to be happy, be. Anger. How do you handle your anger? Do you explode? Do you have anger management problems? If you get angry, what do you do? How do you handle that? These are all examples of our emotional health. Anger is an emotion. We're taught, and we're going to get into that, more into that in the next chapter, but how do you handle your anger? Fear, anxiety. If you, do you have test anxiety? Several kids have test anxiety where they kind of spaz out, freak out, start sweating. You have temporary memory loss where you can't remember things because tests scare you. All right, and then, so those are the aspects of health, and that takes us to wellness. So the last part of this, not the last part, we have one more little thing to cover, but we're going to talk about wellness. So when you take health in college, most of the college classes don't even, they're not called health anymore, they are called wellness. We are looking at the term wellness as a state of high-level health. So wellness means you have all aspects of health, physical, mental, emotional, and social. They are in balance. That is one of the things that we're striving for wellness. To be healthy is to have those three aspects balanced. If you have a lot of friends and a lot of loving relationships, but you're overweight or you have health problems and you don't handle things very well, you freak out a lot, then that means your social health is really high and great, but your physical health and your mental and emotional health are low. That's not good. We got to get them balanced. So within wellness, we're going to talk about a continuum. So everybody you're on a little health continuum, and we need to define the term continuum. So this is a gradual progression through many stages between one extreme and the next. So think about, let's see, I like this example. When you, let's say you just put in your favorite CD, or you just downloaded your favorite iTunes, whatever. The volume is down low, and you really like the music, so you're turning it up, and you keep turning it up until it gets as loud as it will go. That's a continuum. It went from a low stage to a high stage and everywhere in between. You just turned it up to a continuum. You guys are on an educational continuum. You started out in pre-K or kindergarten, and hopefully you're going to go all the way through 12th grade and even college. That is a continuum, a gradual progression from one stage to the next. So as we talk about the continuum of health, this is what our little continuum looks like. You guys know that a line segment in math classes, if there's arrows at the end, that means it's ongoing. It goes on through infinity. Same thing with this continuum. It just keeps going. If you are directly in the middle of the health continuum, that means you're not sick, but you're not perfectly healthy either. So maybe your aspects are out of balance, whatever the case, they're just not where they need to be. If you move along the right side of the continuum, that means you're making decisions to move towards the wellness side. And then these are the aspects or the symptoms of wellness. You have high energy level, you're enthusiastic for life, you have a strong sense of purpose. You know what you want, you're willing to work to get it. A feeling of well-being and supportive relationships. Now, if you make negative decisions and it's moving you towards the left side of the continuum, that means you're moving closer to the illness side. On the illness side, you have low energy level, frequent aches and pains, prolonged illness, a negative outlook on life, and you're isolated from others. So let's say you make the decision at 14 years old to start smoking cigarettes. Does that move you to the left side of the continuum or the right side? Hopefully you said left side. That's going to move you on to the left side. Same thing with getting in a car. Let's say you got in a car and you decided not to put your seatbelt on. That's going to move you to the left side of the continuum. You're making risky decisions, risky behaviors. The choices you make on a daily basis will affect where you are on the health continuum. Okay, and that takes us back to the very beginning. That is health. So hopefully you did your notes and be ready for a quiz next class period.